Hey guys, my name is Nibiri, and for this episode of Kicking of the Week we're going to be finishing the kick that we've been working on. So it's going to be a little bit of getting the punch and the tail to glue together, and a lot of further processing, further distortion, limiting, everything that we need to finish this kick. It might just be a bit of a long video, but let's just get going. So at the end of last week we ended up with this. And I liked it, but I tried to tweak it a little bit more before recording this. So I had this little bit of a bass boost over here, and I just added a slight bit of distortion. And this distortion is just really going to get the tail a little bit more tight. But it's also adding some little artifact as I hear this right now. So I'm just going to try to tweak the distortion a little bit, and let's just try to finish the tail up. I think this will work. It's just a little bit more clean. So let's just get that in here and put it all on the mixer channel again. As you can see, I like working on kicks in steps so that I can trace back everything. Might work for you, might not work for you, but it works for me. Okay, so we have that in the mixer. And I think this will really have a nice drive. That sounds nice. I'm just curious what will happen if I'll stretch this a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to do that. Whoops. I think it works, and it didn't really add anything digital to the tail, so let's just keep it. I like that. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna, I think I'm gonna add another tail, another low end tail. So I'm gonna create it real quick right here. Just the same way that we did last week, and I think adding a new pure tail will make the kick a little bit warmer again, and that's what it needs. So let's get going. Up. And maybe we can create this tail with the other tail over it. Let's just put this like this. A little bit of an automation. So it comes in at the right place. A filter and some distortion again. Let's be sure that the tail is actually working for a sublayer. I think it is. Oh, the random was still up. Yeah, it works. And I'm just going to distort a little bit more and make it move a tiny bit again. And to make this fit perfectly with the tail, I'm going to be taking away the second oscillator first and make sure that this is in phase with the tail layer that we had. A sound wave is just best for it, I think, because it has a symmetrical shape. think this works and it fits the till. So let's just export this. Well, we can keep it there so it will stay perfectly in place. Only thing I'm gonna do is make sure that the till ends in the right spot. Then again, I'm gonna put this in a little bit of buzz. And balancing out this correctly is really important because we're almost finishing this till. And I think the way I'm gonna do that is just by limiting it. I think that will work, but I'm gonna do that at the end of when the punch is completely finished as well. It's just good to know that the idea that I had in my mind will work. Looks fine as well. And I'm gonna try and focus a bit on the punch. As it sounds nice, but it's not really snappy, and it fits the tail, but it's a little bit of a dull punch. I think if we distort this a little bit more and peak it a little bit. This already brings out that punch a little bit. So we might have to redo some stuff from what we did earlier on. Let's just work a little bit on the EQ of the punch. Again, just boosting in the right places and dipping in the right places is just crucial to get that right punchiness. This is already sounding a lot better to me than what we had earlier. This was a little bit more, or well, it has less character, it has less resonance, and it just was a little bit less snappy and less tonal, and this brings out the snappiness a little bit more, and it will in the end help when we want to finish this cake. So I'm just going to put this down a little bit and export it. Make sure that it doesn't clip inside of Edison. And It needs some more work. Maybe if we pogo this a little bit. That already brings up some more snappiness, and I think something I'm gonna do is, I think I showed it in the punch video as well, is I'm just gonna get something natural, maybe a snare, something. I think this will work, and just distort it and layer it in there as well. Let's try something else. Let's try this one. Oh. Let's just try it and see if we export this and maybe manipulate the sample a little bit more. We can put it in the right tone perhaps, and maybe it will complement our punch a little bit. Put this one in the mixer channel as well. So as you can hear, it's also a matter of putting the right balance in the mixer. Because if you would have put the volume up way too high, it would really just take over the punch. And right now it just adds this little intensity into the high end of the punch. You can really just hear it when you take it away. And this sounds nice, but right now I'm just gonna try to add a little bit of EDM kick as well, just again make it a little bit more snappy in the low end too. And let's just see what we can use. No. I think this will work. getting there, but it's a little bit all over the place still. Okay. So I just found out that my speakers were on while working on headphones as well. So sorry for that, sorry for the delay that you heard in the first part of the video, and I'm just gonna walk through the entire punch and all the layering that I did without the delay, just briefly, so you can really hear without the delay how it's actually sounding. So we started off with this tail over here. Just double checking everything's working as it should work. Yes, it is. And this tail, it sounded like this in the beginning. I added a little bit of a bass boost and a distortion to get it sounding like this. After that we added a new low end to this to create some more warmth. And made it sound like this. So it's a lot warmer than the tail on its own. And that's it, we didn't add any new distortion on it. And then I started to work on the punch. And as you hear the punch on its own in the beginning, like what we started off with from the previous videos, it's a decent punch, but it's not snappy, it's not tonal, it's not characteristic. It's okay, but it's not fully there yet. So I decided to EQ it a little bit and distort it even more to get this. Really bring out the resonance in there, and this already makes the punch a little bit more, better, more snappy, more tonal, and that just works. So like this, and then we added a snare and distorted that snare, and that sounds like this. And editing this onto the punch with the right amount of volume, it's just going to give a little bit of high sprinkle onto your punch, and it just makes it a little bit better. Okay, and after that I added a new club kick under there. Just to make it a little bit more punchy in the low end again, give it some better low end. And then we distorted that. So that's where we were, and how we're gonna keep working on this without speakers that are turned on. So this is already sounding way better. This already sounds nice, and I like this. Let's see what we need to do. So if you're not sure where to start when gluing your punch and your tail together, because I think that's what we're gonna do right now, is just export it, and it will just show you where the work is still need to be done. Over here we have this spike, and that's basically because this tail of the punch, and maybe this one as well, is just interfering with the tail as well. So we're just gonna try to get rid of that and try to clean it up a little bit. So let's just try to strip the layers away and see what we need for the punch to make it sound as it is. And by that I mean we don't need this little distortion tail. And also just really pay attention, because this tiny movement over here, for me, it just took away the entire power of the punch. Just really make sure that it's in the right place. Then we're gonna make this end roundabout in the same place. And it's especially important to make sure that the low end of your punch ends at the right spot, because low end just carries the most power, and with a sub in the tail it's just going to play up and fuck up the tail, or at least the transition from the punch sub to the tail sub. So that's also why I'm gonna add some extra layers in here, or automations in here, just to make sure that I have the most versatility to create a smooth transition from this sub to this sub. It might be that we don't need it, but it's just to be sure. So right now probably we've taken away all the spike. Yeah, we've taken away all of that, but it's still a little bit of a matter of balancing right now, and putting everything in the right spot in the mixer. So I like this, but I still don't feel that the punch is snappy enough. So before I'm gonna balance out all the layers that we have over here, I'm just gonna try to find a way to make it more snappy. And I would maybe add some punches from older kicks or something, but for the tutorial I'm just gonna try to work with what we have right now, so that you've seen the entire process of making this kick. And I feel that this snappiness is already in the punch that we had, but we just need to get it out of there a little bit more. And maybe a little bit of this tonal or toneless noise will maybe make it a little bit more snappy. Let's just take away this. That's already making it a lot more snappy. And again, whenever you add a new layer into a punch, into a tail, everything, just try to play a little bit with the phasing, the pogo, maybe some of the stretch. So just make sure that it's really in the place where it needs to be. Because if you really hear this, just the difference between without the pogo, I mean it's there, but if you put the pogo on top of there, it even makes it more snappy, and that's what we want. Let's see how the punch looks right now, or the entire kick. Okay. Maybe put everything in a new buzz for the punch, and we're just gonna mute the tail for now. Make sure that everything's fitting. Okay, so this punch sounds nice right now. I'm actually gonna try one more thing, and this is something you don't hear quite often, at least. So it might be something that will be working for your punches. What we're gonna try is put an OTT on here, and as I showed in the leads that I've made, OTT just really gives this snappiness to your notes for your melody, and you could also try that to make the punch a little bit more snappy. The only thing is with OTT, it can add a little bit too much of highs, and that will make the punch sound brittle. So it's just a matter of having the right punch to do this, and sometimes it just completely won't work. I think it did work a little bit, but we need to do some more stuff in the EQ over here right now. I think this sounds okay, but I just want to be sure that it sounds perfect. So, now, like I said, OTT is just going to add some more brittleness to this punch. The entire high end, it just sounds like way too thin to me right now. So I'm just gonna delete this one again. But I promise you, sometimes it works. Just test it out and see if it works for your punch that you're working on. Okay, so now we have this, and we're gonna route that to a single bus. And we're just gonna distort this even more. So what this is gonna do is, it's just going to create a layer that's really gluing the punch and the tail together. And maybe we can put this underneath the entire kick again to just make it sound a little bit more thick and make it a little bit more one kick instead of just a punch and a tail. So let's try this one. Not sure where to go yet. That's really aggressive right now. And this just shows you, go crazy with distortion. Don't just add a little bit, just go wild and you'll get some good sounds. This is really destroying the kick, but now when we take this kick and put it under the cleaner version of the kick, it's really going to add something. Also the way the punch is resonating right now through that tail, it just sounds sick to me. Let's just see if it works. Pull. Let's put it in the mixer channel. And get the effects off of it. And then just put it down a little bit so I can hear it better. now this sounds a little bit more thick. But to me it still doesn't sound distorted enough, so we're just gonna put the 2 layers in a new bus and we're gonna distort this even more. And maybe export this again. And then put this underneath it. Underneath the clean one. I'm just gonna take away the other layer that we've made and put this in a mixer channel. Oh, this could really work. I hope it works at least. So now we're gonna put these in a bus again, or well, I'm gonna route the extra layer to the same bus, and we're just gonna EQ it a little bit. I feel that the till and the punch need to be EQ'd separately, so I'm just gonna. How am I gonna do this? Just route it through everything. Yeah, I'm just gonna EQ it on here. Just a new one. That sounds good. And now the tail needs some extra EQing. So this one was with the tail, but that's punch and tail. I mean, I want to EQ only the tail. We really needed to bring out that crispy high end from the tail a little bit. And if we would EQ the bus for the punch and the tail, you do the punch and the tail and not only the tail. And only the tail needed this bit of high end boosting. And now I'm just gonna distort it a little bit more, see where it's going. Yeah, I like that. So that just tighten it up a little bit, the 2 layers together. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get the punch. And this punch we're gonna put a huge amount of reverb on there. And just export that. This, by the way, is just the same reverb that I use for my lead tutorials as well. I'm just gonna take this, put it under there, and give it a little bit of a verb in the tail as well. Where is it? This one? Oh, it's this one. And this will give some more drive, and it will just be a little bit nicer to listen to. to do still. It's just hearing it when I put it in a loop. When we take away the second till, or what, second kick, the punch just comes back to life again. So this just destroyed the punch a little bit, and I'm gonna see, maybe we need to do this with a little bit of automation. Maybe I'm gonna take away the punch entirely, I'm not sure yet. Let's just see how we can get this till in here, but the punch not too much so it doesn't destroy the punch. I think I'm gonna take away the entire punch. Give it a little bit of a bleed and some time. And now it just raises the volume of the till, so we need to balance it out a little bit. So what do we have over here? Just stripping some of the effects when it's just a little bit too much. Get it clear for yourself what you need to be doing. So we need to give the punch a little bit more space to breathe. And the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna raise this up a little bit. And the second till was putting more volume on the till part, but you can take this down low as well, but I felt like taking the punch up to bring out the level a little bit better is a way to do it as well. Now I think I'm gonna keep this one off for now. You're in there as well. Okay, so let's do one more route and put the reverb in there as well. And really get everything right. Okay, I think that's better. And then we're gonna take a look at the waveform that we have right now. And what I'm doing when I'm taking a look at the waveform at the end is that I want to make sure that everything everything's routed to one bus. And now when I take a look at the waveform, you can really just see if there's any problems that shouldn't be there. This volume coming up, that's just the reverb that's coming up, so that's fine. And all this just looks nice, but maybe over here there's a little bit of a problem. Might be the sub that's poking up a little bit from the punch. Not sure. So let's take a look into that. And I think beside of that, everything looks good. So let's just see. And if you're doubting where the point for the problem is, you can also just export this and really take a look at it. Yeah, I think maybe if I put this away a little bit, maybe erase it a little bit faster, then same with this. This could really make the difference already. just taking time to make sure that the punch and till is better at least. And we're taking away a little bit over here, so that's good. Maybe we can take away a little bit more just by really placing these automations at the right spot. We could try and get a little bit more of a cleaner result. Let's see what happens like this. It's taking away this, but now it's sacrificing the power of how hard the sub comes in. As you can see right here, the sub needs some time to reach its full amplitude, and I won't do that. You just need powerful kicks these days. So I'm just gonna make sure that the till isn't sacrificing any of its power to make sure to get that dip away or the peak away. I feel this a bit better. We can do better though. It's also this one that's having a lot of sub, and with the cut it's taking away some of the sub. Oh well, it gives it a little bit of a raised amplitude in the beginning over there. So that raises it a little bit as well. And something we could try as well is maybe raise this one and this one, or tails. I think this will sound nice. And now something that I like to do, and a lot of producers do nowadays, is to really finish the kick. You put either a limiter on there, or you put maybe an inflator on here. I'm just going to show both and just take away all the life of it. But make sure that it's, of course, retaining its character and the quality. You want to be making it as loud as possible, but don't make it sound shit. You've been putting all the work in here right now, and then to just throw it away with limiting too hard, that's just sin. So this would work. I'm going to show 2 limiters as well. So this is something you could do, or you could maybe try with a fruity limiter. I think that should work as well. So yeah, let's just keep it with these 2. You can either do it with a Pro L. Just make sure that it doesn't really have any transients anymore. Pretty bad to say that, but try to make it as punchy, but without too much of transients. Or maybe with an Oxford inflator, and then it's going to end up something like this. And then this is the end result. So if you're doubting about how hard you can limit your kicks, just take a look at these 3 kicks over here. There's some older kicks that I've made, and I'm using these in tracks. So yeah, it's just to make sure that you feel like you're getting honest information. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something, and let me know if you learned something, because we've been working on this kick already for a few weeks, and I really hope that this upped your kick game a little bit. And yeah, I hope to see you back next week. Thanks for watching, and have a good time practicing. Cheers!